Hello, my name is Claire and I have never in my life played Dark Souls. Yes, I know I'm uneducated, it's not something I'm proud of, but today things are gonna change. I have in my hands the first 3 games of the original series and I intend on getting through them. Mock me. Hang on, they're not exactly in order. Let me just... So, let's go. That's just ridiculous. I don't wanna do this anymore. I love Dark Souls. Seriously, Dark Souls just does something to our brains. No matter how many times it beats us and chews us and spits us back up again, we keep coming back for more. Why? Well, that's what we're here to find out. So let's venture onwards into the darkest, most terrifying, corruption-ridden realm in all existence, the human brain. Oh man, you need to get a hobby. Let's face it, Dark Souls is good value. More than that, it's probably the most genre-defining video game series in the last decade. Whether you praise or rage for it, or both at the same time, From Software's iconic titles have had us caught within their beautiful and terrible tendrils from the year it was first released. Known for its intriguing minimalist storytelling, utterly fascinating lore, and just plain brilliant level and combat design, Dark Souls is more than just your everyday action RPG. It's a genre. Now, if you've ever had the pleasure of playing a Dark Souls or any other game like it before, you'll be hit with one very important fact. You're going to die. A lot. In gaming terms, death, also known as game over, or for the more educated, git good, is a video game's way of politely saying, you numpty, stop eating burger rings in the middle of the Battle Gargoyles fight and try again before I end myself from your incompetence. That's not particularly personal experience, it's just something that, popped into my head. This iconic screen is something you are going to be very well acquainted with as you play through Dark Souls, which is filled to the brim with next to impossible boss fights, gritty, razor's edge combat, and stamina always running out. I can't beat it. It's so hard. No matter which way you cut it, it's difficult, and famous for being difficult. Now, game overs are generally reflective of the skill of the player and the overall challenge level of the game. Video games must strike a fair balance between their inherent difficulty and the level of skill required to progress so that they don't, cause this. Most games even ensure challenge and skill are accurately matched by providing the opportunity to select a difficulty, allowing them to be more accessible for everyone. I'm a proud normal, for instance. I like it cozy, neutral, the default. I make fun of my sister for playing on easy when in fact she is actually better than me most of the time. And as for the masochists that play on hard and above, well, you know who you are and I just wish you well. As much as we take difficulty selection for granted in modern games, the option to choose how badly you want to be riddled with bullets in a single sitting is actually a surprisingly recent concept. This can explain why a lot of games pre-O's tend to have no qualms with removing your total sense of worth, while at the same time games of today are way more accessible and easy for the everyday player. Whether or not you see this as a bad thing or a good thing is totally up to you, but bottom line, difficulty definitely doesn't go unnoticed in game design. So if you take everything I just said about accessibility and difficulty settings and just toss it out the window, you've got Dark Souls. Because these games don't have difficulty settings, don't give you hints or checkpoints, and will eat you alive faster than trusty patches can yeet you off a cliff, because I definitely didn't see that coming. This is where we come across a playful and simultaneously horrifying idea, the mechanic of losing. Now here's an idea that really struck me while playing Dark Souls. What if every time this screen pops up and we resist the urge to throw our controller into the television screen, what happens here is actually a good thing? Now hear me out. Video games, when you think about it, are all about losing, about the barriers in place that try to stop us from reaching the next level. Where most media we consume have simple, direct reward outcomes, video games force you to fail repeatedly through every error of judgment, combat slip-up, or, in my case, plain stupid decision-making. They make us feel impotent and frustrated. So my question is, if games are meant to be quote-unquote fun, then why do we put ourselves through this? Why do we love them despite their difficulty? The Art of Failure, an excellent book written by Danish game designer Jesper Juul, ponders this very question, and his answer is not quite what you'd expect. We don't enjoy games despite failure. We enjoy games because of failure. Don't look at me, I didn't come up with this. So I guess we got to dive a little deeper. The source of finding enjoyment out of failure is all about psychology, or rather, a nifty little thing known as our brain's reward system. You could reasonably argue that failure works pretty similarly to the process of learning, which is the psychological framework that best applies to how we play Dark Souls. Now we, as humans, learn in two different ways, either by avoidance learning or by reward-based learning. Avoidance learning, also known as punishment-based learning, trains the brain to avoid outcomes we associate as, well, bad. It utilises a part of our brain called the insular cortex, with the front part, the anterior insula, active during decision-making and in processing senses of disgust and self-awareness. But the second way we learn, and the one we're going to mostly apply to Dark Souls and gaming in general, is of course reward-based learning. Reward-based learning is first and foremost a reinforcing process. Unlike how avoidance learning teaches us to minimize situations with a bad outcome, reward-based learning makes sure we milk good situations for all they're worth. When we receive a reward for something we do, the ventral striatum, also known as the reward circuit, flashes in bright technicolor like my beautiful rig. Now, this part of the brain isn't a single area, but rather a bunch piled together, including areas of your cerebrum that I'm sure you can read for yourself here. This part of the brain relies heavily on using dopamine, aka the happy hormone, to let us know that, man, that was good. That was like really good. Like, can you do it again? So when dopamine, or in this particular instance, a lot of dopamine, is the brain's chemical response to a satisfying win, aka a good situation, well, I've just realised that I'm quite literally addicted to Dark Souls. Kicking off 2022 strong. So after hours and hours of fighting the Capra demon, of being cornered in the ridiculous tiny size of the fighting space and being murdered by not one, but 3 stupid OP dogs and dying over and over and over and over again to this stupidly designed, ridiculously impossible, what the am I wasting my life for, boss? And then you beat it. You finally beat it. Oh my god, finally. Oh my god, this killed me. The balance of difficulty is a razor's edge to make games completable but not trivial, challenging but not impossible. But you know, it never occurred to me until I played Dark Souls just how much we actually crave failure. I mean, when you think about it, isn't victory so much sweeter when the possibility of failure is realer than ever? This is where the paradox of failure, the idea that we seek out failure as much as we avoid it, comes into play. I mean, we play to beat a game after all. According to a brilliant article published in the Wall Street Journal, the beauty of failure in video games is that, at least in those that are well designed, the interaction among player, controller, and screen is so well tuned that death almost always feels like the player's fault, not the game's. I mean, doesn't that just make you feel chipper? As if like Git Good didn't already make me feel like crap. But at the same time, there is admittedly something liberating about this idea, knowing we're in total control, that we're fully accountable for our own success. And in a game as flawlessly designed as Dark Souls, it's a bloody empowering revelation. This is what makes Dark Souls so special. Unlike other games, we're not entitled to experience its journey. We need to earn it, and we need to work hard to earn it. So if failure is an important step in this process, how does Dark Souls appeal so much to our brains that are more often focused on instant gratification? When we play Dark Souls, a bond of trust is created between us and the game. The more we fail, the stronger our belief needs to be that with enough dedication, we will eventually succeed. This is how we rely on feedback in video games to push our sense of progression, in collecting souls and being able to reclaim them when they're lost, in activating bonfires and discovering shortcuts, in using Estus flasks to regenerate health. All of this serves to reward continual player effort and keep us within what Russian psychologist Lev Vygotsky coined the zone of proximal development. Without the occasional nudge in the right direction or subtle reinforcement of our ability, we'll fall right out of that zone, throw the controller at the wall and leave the room to cry, which is something I definitely didn't do. It's just ridiculous. But because this game is so thoughtful and so brilliant, the tiniest push of encouragement or hint of progression is all we need to stay hooked and to feel rewarded despite the prolonged reach to earn it. I want to tell you about a little anecdote recorded by our mate Sigmund Freud, the father of psychology. Yeah, I'm sure you know that guy, you've probably heard of him before. One day, he was observing a little boy who undertook a peculiar process. He would take his toy, throw it away and out of sight, and then go and search for it, celebrating every time he managed to find it again. The reason Freud was so fascinated by this was that, for a child at least, this completely went against the idea that our brains are hardwired to seek instant pleasure. Instead of just playing with the toy, the little rat bag went to great lengths to throw it away and look for it until he found it. For him, the searching, the prolonging of reward was the game, and the joy that came with eventually finding it, that was the pleasure. Repetition, defiance, enjoyment, the very same traits defining our experience of Dark Souls. As the psychoanalyst that breaks down Freud's findings says, the taste for difficulty is linked to the creation of attention, which, when satisfied, seems to potentiate pleasure. Hence the cathartic effect, the moment of victory, a serotonin bomb. We're brought up to believe that gratification and reward comes from hard work, which is why the idea of failure is so terrifying. But the thing that's pretty extraordinary about Dark Souls and how it programs our brains is that it transforms and even challenges what it means to fail. So the virtues of failure aren't usually at the forefront of our mind as we fail for the zillionth time to the bed of chaos. Our brains are hardwired to seek instant success, and when victory is further than an arm's reach, well, it's easy to feel small, demoralized, and incapable. What does failure really mean, like from a cultural and personal perspective? To a lot of us, failure isn't just something we do, it can become part of our identity, and when we let it get to us, it can be a pretty crippling feeling to deal with. But the fact of the matter is that when it comes to our brains, the trick to beating Dark Souls isn't in not failing, but in failing over and over and over and over again. It takes repetition, a feckin' lot of grit, and when you think about it, the whole experience of playing this series can teach us a lot about how this feels. Because where instant success has us sticking to the tried and true paths, failure cultivates innovation. It encourages us to leap beyond our capabilities, to push ourselves. What highlights this more clearly than Dark Souls? In an age where we're taught to obsess over success and winning, Dark Souls is a humbling reminder that in reality, it's about losing. Because with every loss, death in Dark Souls, but we won't use that comparison for obvious reasons, we're forced to jump back to that bonfire, recuperate our humanity, and keep pushing forward. As the ever-wise Captain Drummond says, my blade may break, my arrows fall wide, but my will shall never be broken. So until we finally make it through the catacombs of Carthus, let's enjoy every moment of sheer agony, knowing that in the end, we're all the more stronger because of it. Thanks so much for watching this one, guys. I hope it was something new and unique, and it maybe challenged you to think about such an iconic series in a way that you've never really thought about before. I won't lie that when I first picked up the controller to play Dark Souls, I was expecting to feel punished and very upset the whole time. I didn't expect to feel so addicted and so drawn to the idea of losing and then trying again. And that's just a testament to how well it's designed and that it can constantly pull you back in. I'm still scraping through the series, but not gonna lie that I'm actually having a lot of fun doing it, even though, you know, it's killing me inside. But all in all, thank you again for watching. And if you like content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any ideas for future videos, please pop them below because I am always hungry for some more ideas. That sounded a little bit weird. But I wasn't lying about being stuck on the catacombs of Carthus, so I'm gonna go and do that now and see if I can get through that without crying, because last time that didn't go down too well. So I'll catch you guys later, and thanks again for watching. Bye!